Hello, my marvellous sausages. I've been given some what they call B-roll footage from Bungie. Not just me, of course, loads of creators have got it. But I've noticed that hasn't been much coverage of what I think is a really cool feature, which is the shooting range, okay? And it's linked in with a new event called Arms Week. But don't stress, because once Arms Week stops, because oddly enough, it's only a week long, don't worry, the shooting range will remain, apparently, okay? So we don't have to worry about that going away at all. The strange thing, though, just before we get started, is that the shooting range isn't available from when Edge of Fate drops. It's available a week after when Arms Week launches. As probably they just didn't want everything launching on day one, is probably the reason why. So letting it go a week so then we can all have a little experience and have a look at that. But I thought we'd have a look at the B-roll footage together so you can just see all the various things that we've got. So first off, we'll have a quick look at the Arms Week, and then I want to go into the shooting range because there's loads of really cool looking stuff in there, which I like the look of a lot. So this is the Arms Week page. Now we've got welcomes to Arms Week. It's a time for Guardians to hone their weapons. Ada-1 waits in the shooting range in the tower, visiting between volatile weapon mods. So it's going to be giving us experimental but powerful upgrades, which is handy. Plus there's going to be a weapons featured, or basically an archetype featured each week, and we're going to get not exotic, a legendary weapon from that. And then you can gain combat telemetry out in the world, okay? And to do that, then it seems that we just have to complete these daily challenges, look. So we've got here, let's have a little look who's going to pop over. We've got a glass cannon there, defeat combatants with hand cannons, it looks like. Yes, defeat combatants with hand cannons. We've got, let me pause that there, defeat combatants with precision final blows using hand cannons with precision. So it looks like this archetype all this week will be hand cannons. And then you get event tokens from that, which you can then spend, I'd imagine, buying various bits and bobs. So it's pretty similar. Complete matches in Arms Week hardware, so that's a PvP mode, I'd imagine. They're going to show us the weekly challenges? Go on, yes. Spend combat telemetry during Arms Week. So there we go, just got to spend that as well, and that'll give you an extra 90 tokens and event XP and Bright Dust as well. So the event itself does look very intriguing. One thing I've noticed about the Edge of Fate and people have been talking about is that, now I don't know if this is going to be true or not for the shooting range, but I got a sneaking suspicion it's going to be. The main director that we normally use for going to various planetary areas and all that, our destinations, Kepler isn't going to be on that director. It's going to be tucked away, not tucked away, but it's going to be in the new director. What do they call that now? I can't remember. What's it called? The bloody pilot. What's it called? The portal. That's what it's called. I had to watch a video then to remind me. Yes, so the portal is basically a menu-driven way of accessing everything. So the shooting range you can see here is in the Arms Week portal, or part of the portal for Arms Week. Whether or not it's going to be actually listed as a destination in the tower because it's a new permanent addition that you can get through the director, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about the fact that you can't do everything through the director, but I think it's probably the best way to get things done, but I feel that we're going to lose a bit of atmosphere from not having to go to the different planets. I thought they'd be adding it to the planets as well as the portal, but then I don't know. So that doesn't seem to be the case for all the new stuff. It's just going to be through the portal. Kepler isn't going to be on the director. So I don't know what you think about that, but there we are. That's the way it is. But anyway, you can see here, look, we've got the shooting range where we can do stuff, and then we've got the player v player, which was the hardware Arms Week thing that we could do as well. So let's pop into the shooting range and see what they've got for us. So look, we've just landed here now in the new shooting range, and stop there, look, over there, look, we've got Ada and her new bits and bobs. So she's going to be the one we're going to be speaking a lot to, I think, in regard to all the weapon stuff, particularly with the arms stuff. Now, let's go and have a little look in and show you the little bits that I've noticed. First of all, you can't help but notice we've got a super there, look. Right, now the super, that must charge your super, of course. It's like one of those charging pits. Because the firing range itself, you can actually jump over the barrier and use all your abilities as well. So you can see what damage you're outputting with those two, and how your super build will work, and your fragments and your aspects and all that. So that's a really cool thing. First of all, this is not just based for weapons, it's based for all that kind of stuff too. There's loads in this. I'm going to start pausing it really carefully. Now, you can just see here as well, we've got like computers on the left and on the right there, so we can change various aspects of the shooting range with those computers. You can see, look, you've got a rally flag that you can replenish all of your weapons and doodads with, which is nice, of course. But these parts here, I'm just showing you these because they're on the way down. Look, let me just go back. It says update target enemy selection on these little consoles at the side here. So you can see we've all got a, we had, what do you call it, a fallen captain there. And then here we've got servitors here, update target enemy selection. So you pick what enemy you want to have in the zone itself. And then once you run the update, you turn and look at the zone. Look, now it's going to be absolutely full of servitors once you kick it in, which is excellent. And then you click go, and they'll do whatever doodads they want. Look, they're all firing there. But there's so many different options you can do here to test all your builds and stuff. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So that's what all those consoles are for there. Now, when you come up to the actual shooting range itself, you've got DPS, which is damage per second, of course, and then total damage. You've got different types of enemies there, but we've got this, look, toggle display distance on target. Now, this is something that's always kind of baffled me in Destiny. I've never been able to judge how far away a target is, and with damage fall off and all that kind of thing, it's just always been a bit of a, oh, I don't know, they're over there a bit. Do you know what I mean? Or they're a bit further away. Not, how do I know if they're 10, 20, 30, 40 meters away? I have no idea. They could be really tall and far away, or really small and really close. I have no idea at all. It's probably got something to do with my depth perception, perhaps. But anyway, what's great about this is that it actually now gives you a frame of reference, which you can then sort of apply to the weapons and how far they're going to shoot and how far their damage drop off is, if that's your bag, baby. So I'll just continue to play it here. Look, he's toggling the distance on and off there, and you can see you've got 10, 20, 30, 40 up the side. So what's going to happen here now is to toggle the distance on. Now, once they aim, look, at a target, we've got the bots here. We've got a target frame there. Look, that was 11 meters away, just standing just beyond the 10. So I kind of know then. All right, okay, so that's 10 meters in the game. I never really got that in my head very well, which I thought was a pretty cool thing. So then as you get the damage on, then you can see, all right, it's doing damage 48 and 48 for crit and 28 for the body, or 33 or whatever it is, depending on the weapon that you're using. So that is very useful for a plum like me, because I'll have a bit of an idea of how far these things will stretch. Yes, that's great. Look at them. They go all the way up to, what's that? 70 meters. That's a long way. I wonder how far rockets will go. Next thing I've seen, you can change the factions here, look. So we're on Vanguard, which must mean, of course, little Vanguard robots. We've got the Vex there, we've got Cabal there, we've got Hive there, we've got Taken, we've got Scorn, we've got the Darkness here. What's that one there? Can't remember. It's going to be some form of Git. So anyway, watch now when we change the faction here. So we're going to change to Hive. They'll all disappear and we'll get replaced by Hive Gittage. And then, of course, they've got the distance represented on them as well. So it's very useful to see there with the Acolytes. But something else I really like about this as well, what we got here, he's changing whether they're attacking or not, look, or whether they're in a neutral stance. So that's good to give you an idea of moving distance. But, of course, it all goes to utter chaos then. So it's just a matter of you testing your gun with the various distances, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, but I do quite like that. So you can have a really good interchange of seeing what's what. Now, I'm trying to stop this here because this is right. What are we doing there? What's that one? That's come on, work. I don't know. They don't seem to be able to get it. Simulated target behavior is disabled. All right, so it's changing there in the corner. Look, okay. So what that must mean is, well, what does that mean? Because we don't really see an exact representation of what it is. Because once he shoots the middle one there, look, it'll say the simulated target behavior is disabled. So maybe that just turns on the aggressive, and also one of them makes them more defensive or whatever. It doesn't give you a complete understanding of that. But what is pretty cool here, look, you can see as well, you've got your total DPS. So that's damage per second, and then your total damage that you've been dishing out to. And you can have a complete fire team in here as well, because you've got 6 different positions, and that'll keep track of your own individual DPS and your own total damage. Thanks very much for the wavy thing there. So there's loads here that that we can make a change with. So from what I can gather, once you say you pick Cabal like they've done here, you have the your main red bars all up there, but then you can pick champions and things like that to actually populate the shooting range itself. So you can run the champion enemy with the selected behaviors. You could change the type of champion that you've got. You can run the enemy wave there as well. So there's so many opportunities here. And what this is going to do, I think, is really make the weapon nerds tell us exactly what's what with the guns. Now, I got to admit that I do find a weapon stats and things very, very dull to listen to. So this is going to be a really nice way of spicing it up and making the targets run and giving you a rough idea of what the hell's going on. That's an awful lot of servitors there. Simulated target behavior is enabled. There we go. And they're going to be either aggressive or passive, but we don't have a breakdown of that there. So, good. What you reckon about the shooting range then? I think that's going to be a good lark, and I can't wait to get me filthy paws on it. Look, this Titan's slamming them with his hammers. Let me know in the comments. I've got loads and loads of B-roll footage of all the exotics. I don't want to do any of the opening missions because I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't be doing any of those kinds of stuff, but I'm thinking of putting out some videos on the various bits of B-roll that I've got, so we can all have a little look at, and if I can find anything extra about it as well, I will augment it like I've done with this Edge of Fate reveal. Anyway, folks, if you like the vid, a like and subscribe would be totally fantastic, and let me know in the comments what you think of the shooting range. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. A sausage ahead.